in the line of substance use prevention. And I know I will be touching on a few things here and there, but most importantly, I will also be touching on a bit of a few things that I have been able to do from my end. And the motivation behind what really propelled me to do this. So it is not, I'll not be focusing so much on what I have on the screen, but it will be for guidance purposes. So I come from an organization called Slum Child Foundation. We are a registered community-based organization working with children, women, and youth in the informal settlements of Korogocho in Nairobi, Kenya. We've been in existence for the last, I think, more than one and a half decade. That is over 15 years we've been in existence. So briefly, that is about us. We are an ECOSOC registered organization. We are an ECOSOC registered organization, and I would really also want to talk about the ECOSOC. I would really want to talk about the ECOSOC thing. So maybe as a start, I will start by talking about what is advocacy. And as you can see on the screen, it is just an activity or something that aims to influence a decision within the political, economic, and social institutions. So it cuts across a number of sectors. Next. The approach, and this is where I would really want to put a lot of emphasis to the members of the team to focus on. It includes activities, publication to influence public policy, laws, budget, and by using facts, their relation to the media, messages to educate government official and the public, which is very much important. And if you at some point, I know I'll be talking about the problems that we face within the community and so on and so forth. And at that particular moment, I will share the best practices that I've been using to ensure that lobby and advocacy works out. Next. This is just to get the difference between lobby and advocacy. A lot of people talk about we do lobby and advocacy, but in real sense, it is very difficult to differentiate between lobby and advocacy. And at times it becomes very difficult to differentiate that what is lobby and what is advocacy. Yes. I think I will talk about issues, the problem that we face as a community. There is the issue of marijuana legalization in the continent. It's a big problem. There is the issue of child abuse, domestic violence, drug addiction, poverty, just to mention a few. When we talk about lobby and advocacy in the line of substance abuse, there are things that we need to understand. What is the problem that we are facing? And then who are behind this problem? Do we have enough facts to challenge this? And how can we address these facts in a way that we are able to win the fight? I'm now making reference and a lot of reference to what I've been able to do in Kenya. If you look at the picture below with the three gentlemen, this was when we made a courtesy call to the chief executive officer of NACADA. NACADA is the National Coordinating Agencies on Issues Related to Drugs. And at some point in Kenya, we really had a lot of debate. People were really championing for legalization of marijuana. And we had to be tactical, we had to be strategic in a way that we are able to address this by making the courtesy calls. So we made a courtesy call and we tabled our facts to him. Why we really feel that there is need to advocate against legalization of marijuana. Then we embraced, we really, I don't know how to put it, but we did several press release with facts that why we are challenging the legalization of marijuana in our field. We did a lot of public forum, like the first photo up there. I mean, we talked about sharing facts to the public about issues of drug and substance use. And then on the photo below there, we talked about organizing forums where policymakers meet and make decisions. So we really wanted to be part of that. And we've been organizing several forums to ensure that we capture what is right and be also part of the policymakers, know what the policymakers are thinking, and and how to be part and parcel of it. For example, if you're doing a lot of drug and substance use work, prevention or treatment, you realize that every year there is the Commission on Narcotic Drugs. And if you've been following, like during COVID, nothing has been happening a lot. So we've been forced to coordinate or organize hubs whereby we are able to share with people about the decisions that are being made at the highest level and how that information can be of help to us, and even getting an opportunity to challenge it. So we've been doing that. We participate in those forums. We participate in the country forums. We do a lot of press release. We do a lot of radio and TV interviews whereby we are able to talk about this. Next. So if you look at what we've done, the first photo is when we organize a forum to sensitize the children about issues related to drug and substance use. The photo below was a TV interview when we were talking about how do we tackle this. So we have to be strategic. And I'm happy as Isaac, we have people who have different background. There are people who have a different background on communication. So that is very, very essential. The letter below is a press release that we did when we were challenging one of the presidential candidates recently in our just concluded election. He was talking about legalizing marijuana and everything. So we gathered all that information and challenged those facts through a press release. So if you look at this, or the best approach that I've used and I've seen it work, is that I identify the problem, which basically must be in line with what I do, substance use prevention. So if someone wants to legalize, that is like countering what I'm doing. And then I have to map out who do I bring on board. We have legislatures, we have who. Then I collect all the facts and put them together. Once I put all the facts together, I know what is fiction, what is fact, and I'm able to articulate it well. Then that is the time that I'm able to organize for TV interview, the forums, engaging policymakers, what does the law says, and then I emphasize a lot of courtesy call. I've been making a lot of courtesy calls to ensure that I'm able to get what is required. I'm able to know what does the government think and how can the government be part and parcel of this. So that is what I've been doing a lot. And if you look at what really motivated me into coming up with the organization was the background that I was born and brought up in the slum setup, whereby at some point I was a street boy, and the kind of lifestyle that I really went through motivated me or pushed me into starting something that would better the life of children living in informal settlement. Yeah, and then out of that, an organization was born. A lot of my friends who are into drug and substance use, so I had to ensure that this remains to be the focus and the key area of interest in doing this. So I've been championing for the right of children because I wouldn't want to see children going the same direction that I went to. Yeah, and we've been able to do a lot of programs. We've been able to participate in a number of forums. And through that, I also got an opportunity to do to participate in to register organization with the UN through the ECOSOC status. So the ECOSOC status give you an opportunity to attend the UN meetings, either through or be able to submit oral statement or be able to submit written statement to the UN and make them really understand how it works. Yeah, so I think, I don't know if I have any questions or anyone who would really want to ask anything else.
Should we have a time of interaction and just picking your brain a bit? Is that okay?
Yes.
Brilliant. So, where are we? Shall I kick us off with a question, George, if you don't mind? So you mentioned that you do, your approach is mapping and templating almost facts versus fiction, and who will do what and where. So it sounds, you make it sound very simple, but can you explain a little bit more about that? Like, how do you map it out? Do you physically like get a piece of paper out and start writing down things and then start contacting people from there? Are there, can you give us a live example of a particular problem that you approached in this way?
Thank you for the question. I think what happens is that I do the physical mapping. I do the not actually the physical mapping. I go online, get what needs to be done. I mean, get to know who is doing what, where, and how. Then I tap on their strength. So, for example, if I know there are politicians who are not on my side, so it means I will not be able to bring them on board, but I will be able to bring those who support my initiative to come on board. Then if I know there are government ministries who are supporting what I do, I take note of them. Then I get into the officials of who do the real job. Then I get to the bottom line of where, how, and so on and so forth. So usually I do a lot of internet search. I do a lot of news reviews, who talks about what. Then at times I also, this is intelligence, you try and use a lot of intel from people around just to know who supports you and who doesn't support you. Did I answer you?
Yeah, that's really useful. I mean, if you could give us a specific example of where you did that, that would be really helpful for some of our guests. But if that's putting you on the spot and it's hard to think of an example, that's okay.
Okay. For example, there was a time we had a legislator who wanted to legalize marijuana, and he was pushing for a bill to legalize marijuana at the National Assembly. So the moment I got to know or to notice that he was really behind this, I sat down, looked at what facts he has, and the kind of engagement that he was using through several TV interviews. You know, the media people love a lot of things that do not, that brings conflict in between. So I had to follow his interview very well, look at the issues that he's trying to articulate. And then I sat down, mapped out the first person or the first organization was the coordinating agency that we have in the country. I made a courtesy call. What is your opinion? What do you think? What resources do we have? And do you think we can make it work? The other thing was that he wanted marijuana to be declassified as a substance that is not harmful. and have a commission set up to regulate all that. So I had to do a thorough search. I came to realize that in Kenya we have a crop commission, and the work of the crop commission was to regulate such. So by having the agency and the crop commission and having another commission, it was not adding any, it was not making any sense. So it was just a matter of playing with words and challenging the same. Then I also tried to look at who among the politicians are supporting or are behind my idea. So I had to follow up. I had to ensure that I give them courtesy calls, get their contacts from the people who have them, then put my facts down. Look at the newspaper, what are they saying about this? Get the opinion of the people at the lowest level, so that by the time you're talking, you have a backup of people behind you who are really, really passionate and support your initiative. Yeah, and then the most recent one was about this, the guy that, the presidential candidate who wanted to legalize marijuana. Again, I looked at his approach, I looked at the facts, but when I was doing my press release, I really sought a lot of legal background, and I was advised not to focus so much on attacking him, but to challenge his facts. So that was the approach that I had to put in place, and it really worked out well for me. Then before the two, we also had a scenario whereby there was a professor from Uganda who came in and was really, really hard challenging the facts that he has, and he came up with a 50 points. 50 points. They asked the reason. 50 points challenging the reason why he wants marijuana to be legalized. So those are the facts that we took. We went online, look at the policies that are there at the country level, regional level, international level, and we had to ensure that we also have doctors in place to give us the insights on the medical part of it. And then again, we also had we had to seek the intervention of policy experts who we also brought on board to ensure that things work out well for us. Then apart from the policy, we also had to bring people who have been affected by marijuana and they have recovered. So how would that be of great importance to the whole work that we are doing? Yeah. So I don't know if that was clear.
Yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant. What strikes me about that is that your role within that was one of a coordinator. So you mentioned within those examples that you sought out people who were authorities in their fields who are able to advise you and align their message with your message. So you mentioned policy experts, legal counsel, medical professionals, as well as people who are affected by in their own lives through the use and the abuse of marijuana. So almost your role there was to pull all those stories together in a cohesive way. Would you say that? And so much of communication is getting others to tell your story as well. So that's great. Shall we take a few more questions?
Yes. Can I ask a question? Okay, can I ask George?
I'm sure that'll be fine, Ikena. And then I think Halumba has a question next after you.
Oh, okay. So let me, this is not just the question, but I think we would like to, because from your introduction, we say you have your brief bio that you grew up as a street child. So we wanted to connect your background to what you're doing now. So can you really just tell us a bit about your background as a street child and what motivates you and on what you're doing now, the prospects, so that we'll be able to connect. Thank you.
Okay, maybe if there is any other. Or maybe I'll just speak on this. Maybe what have been asked. Being a slum child is not an easy thing altogether, because you really have to struggle in between juggling the poverty around, the issues of drug and substance use, and a lot of challenges that come through from time to time. Including domestic violence at home, and a number of issues that come through. So when I was growing up, I was like any other child, enjoying life of being together with my parents, and everything was working well as any other child. Then issues of domestic violence came up, then sleeping hungry, parental lack of parental responsibility, negligence. So all this propelled our family to break up. I mean, the father and the mother broke up, and then because if you go this way, you're pushed to the other side. If you go the other side, you're pushed to the other side. So that the children usually in such situation are left to be the victims. So they're in between. So I was in between, and that really pushed me to the street life. And then during my street life, it was not an easy thing altogether. You try to push this, you try to work on this. And I was like, I have to do something, because I was not happy to see myself and the children that were around me going through the same. Sleeping hungry, sleeping on the street, having nothing to eat, juggling between what is there and what is not there. So it was not an easy thing altogether. Dropping out of school at some point, looking at how young girls were being raped. So it was just a total mess. But out of that, I got an opportunity from a good Samaritan who reintegrated me back to school, because I was very much interested to go to school. So after being reintegrated back to school, I got an opportunity to say, this is what I want, working for the community. So I went back to school after some years. Then once I was in school, I got an opportunity to finish my high school. So well, I was through with my high school, I got interested to work with the community. And a vision came to me. I mean, what do I want to do with this community? So I sat down and came up with an idea, which was to have or create a good foundation, like an upbringing foundation for that child who lives in the slum. So that is where and how Slum Child Foundation was born. So our foundation is not like Bill Gates Foundation and all that. So our foundation is the upbringing foundation for that child who lives in the slum, to have a better future, to have better education, not to go through the kind of challenges that I went through at some point. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other person who may want to ask any question?
Yes, my hand was up. You can.
Oh, yeah, Halumba, go on.
Yeah, thank you, George, for sharing the information about your background and about your organization. So I just want to learn, I'm running an organization as you are, and sometimes maybe we face similar challenges, and the way you solve challenges may also make another person learn from there. So I just wanted to find out, how do you manage to make sure that the children that you are saving and yourself together with your staff receive at least the required support? Because one of the challenges that I've discovered, which I'm experiencing as we run these organizations, is sometimes even as we run these projects, also as organizations, we are as vulnerable as the people that we serve. So my inquiry really is, how do you manage to raise resources, and not only raising resources maybe for 3 months, for 1 year, but sustainably, so that you can sustain the organization and the vision, so that the organization may even may live the life beyond you as the founder or the originator. So the organization may outlive you as the founder. So I think those are the points I want to learn from there. Thank you.
Maybe someone else who has a question also, so that I can answer all of them together.
I'll read out Ijioma's question. She says, can you explain a little more on how you lobby to advance your work? Giving an example will help. I think you already touched on that, didn't you? Any other questions? If nobody else has one more question, I was wondering if you could just also tell us a bit more about EcoSoc and what that means and how to apply.
Okay, I'll start with the EcoSoc. EcoSoc is the economic and social status being granted. It's one of the, I mean, it's the economic and social status of the UN that usually grants organizations to contribute to the work of the UN. How this works is that applications are usually done once per year. Deadline is usually, I think, from January to around mid of the year. And they require a lot of paperwork. They will ask you about the audited report, this report, that report. They will send back and forth. I will try and have the link and share with you on WhatsApp so that you can share with people later on where and how to apply for the EcoSoc status. But it really helps, because if you get an opportunity anywhere around the world where the UN has an assembly, you can contribute to their work by making an oral statement or presenting a paper about what you think about the thematic area of discussion at the moment. So that is one. Then about lobby and sustainability of our work as an organization. Fundraising is the hardest thing to do. If you are a lobbyist, again, it becomes a little bit tricky to fundraise for financial support to your organization. I mean, we are all gifted differently. I am gifted well in lobbying, but I'm not well gifted in fundraising. So usually it has been a big problem, and most of the time you realize that the people who support our project are people who are individuals who are passionate about our work. A lot of people have been asking the same question that we've been asking: how do we get money to do this and do that? It has been a big challenge, but at the same time, we have been trying our level best to ensure that we integrate what we have with something else. For example, if we are doing drug and substance use prevention, what else can we merge with it to ensure that we are walking in the right path? for example, you're doing drugs prevention. How can you integrate that with the crime? How can you integrate that with sexual reproductive health? So that when you get an opportunity to apply for funding, it really or squarely fits within what they're looking for. Yep. I think that was okay.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of joint funding applications with other organizations, George?
Yes, that is an idea that just came recently. We never had an opportunity about thinking towards that direction, but it's something that we've explored. And nowadays we are doing a lot of collaboration projects. And I know if we will be able to put all our energies, resources, and efforts together as ISAC, we will be able to do a lot. When it comes to maybe child protection. For example, we are doing drugs and we want to do child protection, focusing on substance use prevention. You know, there are other areas that if they are not addressed, they will, drug and substance use will escalate into other things. So you look at the interventions that work well and you put your resources and efforts together. And I tend to believe as ISAC is a very big name. It's a global network of organizations. So if we'll be able to put all our energies, resources together, we will be able to find a way to sustain even people. I've been surviving on volunteers. I mean, intern students, people who just want to come on board and give their input to the project. So I have been really banking on them because I don't have enough financial masculinity to help me sustain the project. So that has been the biggest, and then to run an organization from that angle is very risky because these are people who will help you develop a program. They are with you for the next 3 months or 6 months. Once they are done, they go. So again, you will have to recruit someone else to come on board and help you work out things.
Yeah.
So it's very risky. But if you have a way that you can do joint proposals with people, it becomes easier for you now to move and even sustain these people. Because at times you have the best brains that you even don't want to lose them. But if they go, you won't be able to get them again.
Very true.
And then just to make it clear, I mean, we are open for any collaborations with anyone who would want to bank on us. And we would be very much also willing to collaborate with other people who would want our input or do joint funding together as members of ISAC, because we are here to learn from each other and strengthen each and every other person in their line of interest.
That's good. Thank you, George. I mean, apart from advocacy, is Slum Child Foundation, do you have a vision for that is wider than advocacy? This seems to be your strong suit, but are there other things also that you do just so that people understand the full remit and width of what you do so that they also understand where they can collaborate?
Yeah, we have, I'm really sorry, my phone is also running off power, but we have a children program. We call it Toto Club. We have a teenage mothers program. We have a school outreach program. We have a young women empowerment program. We have a youth program. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to do something around young people and youth-related addictions projects in one of our upcoming ISAC sessions, because there are so many projects represented in ISAC Africa that work with young people. Are there any other questions? Because as George said, I think his battery is running low.
Okay. Is there any other question so that we can round up?